Sure. Thank you so much for having me. Good evening. Uh, I am Dr. Gary London. I am a very recent transplant to Pell City. I've lived here now for 2 years. I am currently a assistant professor of business administration at Talladega College. I moved here for that position from Nashville, Tennessee. And I am very, very delighted to be a part of this community and become more integrated in this community.
First question. Please describe the role of a local school board member as you understand it. Why are you the best person to fill this position?
Great question. The role of the school board member is to be intricate in developing policy, budget, leadership, administration of the school board, as well as the vetting and hiring and support of the superintendent. Why do I believe I would be the best candidate for this position? My career, it's been half and half. Half of it's been in executive leaderships through our business. The other half has been in education. I've been a high school teacher. I taught 10th and 11th and 12th graders in Nashville, Metro Nashville public schools, specifically a school called Antioch High School. I'm currently serve as a professor. Now, this is my third institution of higher education. Before that, I also worked at a tutorial service for many of years. And so I've been involved in education for a very long time. And as we all know, education is now evolving. And so I think my leadership skills, my experience, my current experience, I work with young people every day, freshmen to people in graduate schools. And I think the current experience that I do currently, in concert with the past experience that I have, make me very, very suitable, very, very experienced, very, very poised to be part of this school board.
What are the most significant issues our school district is currently facing? How would you propose the district address these challenges?
I must admit, before I answer that question, living in this community, I do not have children. My children are grown and out of school now. And so I've never set foot in one Pell City school. So I have to lean on the data, the research that I've done. And there's one thing that's poignant, that there are some current issues that I've studied, and that's been behavior issues, right? That's a nationwide common theme. And I think there's another issue that I didn't get from the data, but just because I currently work in education, I think one of the things that we all have to confront is the emergence of AI. The emergence of AI, right? It's here. It's part of our day-to-day lives, and it is having a vast effect on education. It is allowing students to circumvent deep accretive learning and just input a question and being kicked out an answer. It's substituting study, reading, the deep study that we've all had to do before AI, and it's something that has to be confronted. I think we are late to the party. I think we kept hearing about it's coming, it's coming. Well, it's here. And from someone like me who's in the classroom Monday through Friday, I can tell you it is a challenge to deal with because it makes it hard to really confront whether or not your students are actually getting the lesson that you're trying to get across, that you're trying to teach them, or is ChatGPT answering the questions for them, right? And as all educational systems, whether it's the one I currently work at, whether it's Pell City, whether it's Hoover or Homewood, we're all in a position of trying to catch up and trying to assess whether or not our young people are really getting and mastering the skills that we're trying to teach. And so those things are a challenge. As far as behavioral issues, it's not a Pell City issue. That is a nationwide issue. That is a cultural issue. That is another area where we're trying to catch up, right? It is a cultural issue. How do you draw a line and maintain the standard? It's difficult, but it's achievable. But it's something that has to be worked on over a course of time. And the biggest factor to that is consistency, right? We have to be like almost like, let's say like a business like McDonald's, right? What do you get from McDonald's? You get consistency. You get a Big Mac in Nashville, you'll get the Big Mac the same way in Birmingham, right? It's consistency. That's what McDonald's sell, consistency. A school system needs to operate just like a corporation, just like a business. It has to be consistency. And when you have consistency at the leadership level and it trickles down, then it's easy to enforce rules that bring about change.
The Alabama State Department of Education scored Pell schools an 80 in 2022, an 81 in 2023, and an 83 in 2024. What are your thoughts on this trend and the trajectory of the school system overall?
I actually looked at that data last week, and I looked at it again today, just for measure. And just as the last speaker stated, most of the schools in the Alabama system are at a B level, right? Obviously, we want an A. I think to answer your question, the trajectory is good. It's going forward, right? I have no clue what the score was 10 years ago or 20 years ago, but I think that's a great ceiling. I'm sorry, not ceiling. That's a great floor, an 83. It's going forward. I think one of the first things that I would want to do is come in and say, let's have a feasibility study. Let's see how we got to where we are, and where we want to go. And I think the erection of this school board is part of that. And I think with the school board working with the superintendent, I think we can see those numbers trajecting forward. And I think the 90 percentile is not only doable, but I think if we can get a school board that works together in concert with the superintendent, I think you can make projections of being in the 90 percentile definitely within 3 to 5 years.
This time, do we have any follow-up interview or questions from any of the students?
I do. You talked about behavior issues. I think it is a problem as well in most of our schools.
Right.
How do you draw the line with consistency? Because behavior just covers a mecca of inconsistency. And I think it's a problem in our schools.
Yeah.
Do you have any ideas of how you approach that problem?
I actually do. I think that I'll give you an example. When I taught high school, I worked at a high school that had 2,450 students, 150 teachers, right? The place was the size of a college. And the range of behaviors was just day to day. I mean, it was just incredible trying to teach in an environment where they've closed so many schools, put all these different students from all these different areas, just piled them up in this one school. And as you can imagine, there was behavior issues, multiple every day. And at the time, we had a principal who was more concerned with optics, right? Everybody's concerned with optics. You don't want to draw a hard line because you want the school to be looked at in a good light. We had a change of principals during my time there, and we had a principal that looked at the data and said this has to stop. And the principal had to make some hard decisions. And some of those hard decisions led to putting in policies that, for example, we had a policy where I can't remember the name of the system, but whenever students did things, a step where we would call parents, have interventions with whoever our social behavior science person was, conference with the parents, swift and harsh punishment, right? Which affected the parents, right? So it was comprehensive. If the child has to be home for 2 weeks, most of the time that affects the parents' ability to be able to go to work and be able to earn a living, right? And so the principal came up with this shared responsibility. It wasn't just on the school system to do the heavy lifting. The onus was put on the parents as well. And so that was hard, right? That made sure that the parent was not secondary in discipline, but primary, right? Because as an educator, the school system shouldn't be primary. The school system is secondary. It starts at home. And too often now, children are sent to school and parents are saying, you deal with them, right? The onus needs to start back at home. And the only way you do that is there has to be policies in place that puts the responsibility first on the parent, secondary on the school. And that can be a hard process. That can be a hard pill to swallow for parents. But it's one of the only tools that I've ever personally seen to bring about change. Is it perfect? No, it's not. None of these systems are perfect, right? But you have to draw a line. And let's go back to something I said earlier. It has to be consistent across the line. Otherwise, it'll be exploited. If there's cracks, those cracks will be exploited, and the process continues. And being a former high school teacher, being a current professor right now, it is impossible in theory and practice to ask a teacher to come to a classroom and try to teach with the emergence of AI, with large class sizes, in addition to dealing with behavior issues. The combination, iteration, sophistication of all three of those things make it nearly impossible to be effective as a teacher. As a school board steering committee, as a superintendent, the job is to give the teacher all the tools they need to be able to be effective. And those behavior issues have to be dealt with in a way that doesn't affect deep accretive study and learning. You're very welcome. Sure.
London, you're very educated. You have a degree from a school in Montgomery, a degree in Birmingham, one in Memphis, and I'm not sure if the Cumberlands are
It's in Kentucky.
in Kentucky. So what brought you to Talladega, Alabama?
What brought me to Talladega, Alabama? I was living in Nashville, Tennessee. I don't know if you've ever been, but Nashville is an incredible city. And I was teaching at a college called Cumberland University. And, I told my wife that, I just had this idea to go somewhere and teach at another college. We weren't having any issues. Cumberland is a very small college. Very great college, but I wanted to do something different. And so I put out some applications, and I got a lot of callbacks, right? But I wanted to be somewhere that offered more than a job. I wanted to be somewhere that had a great community, right? I'm originally from New Orleans, Louisiana, right? And so, I love the South, and I love the sense of community. It was more than just looking for an opportunity. I already had an opportunity. What I wanted was community. And I interviewed with several schools, and I looked at things comprehensively. And me and my wife sat down and said, okay, we're going to come to Alabama. We're going to come to Alabama. And here we are. And, once again, this is just an incredible community, right? I mean, just going to Publix is an adventure, right? Honestly, just what's the name of this park up here? Is it Lakeside? Just going walking in that park it's literally like something off of television, right? It's amazing. It's safe. Everybody's friendly. I mean, this is a hidden jewel. And as I look at the data, I see people are figuring out this jewel. And I'm glad I'm here. And, like most educators, like most college educators who jump around, I actually came here and bought a home. And so for me and my wife, this is planting roots. And so I'm just glad to be here. And part of applying for this opportunity is just leveraging my experience my experience in education, my experience in business. To me, this is a call to serve, a call to action. And so, once again, although I don't have any children in the school system, I am so deeply connected, vested, and intertwined in education. Why would I not be sitting here? Why would I not come help this community move forward? Because now isn't just a community in the abstract. This is my community. Yeah.
Thank you.
You're so welcome.
Dr. London, I have a few follow-up questions for you.
Sure.
What is your perception of our school district's current working and learning environment? You have ideas on how to ensure and maintain a positive environment?
Definitely. Once again, I don't want to speak on the current environment because these feet have not set foot in one of Pell City schools yet, right? And so all I can do is go off of my experience and the data that I studied. I think from what I see, everywhere I drive, I see Pell City Panthers in people's yards, right? I would hope that the Panthers wasn't responsible for the toilet paper in the trees, but I'm sure that may or may not be the case. We've all been young people and have had fun. But I think there's already a positive attitude as it relates to Pell City. One of the things that I would like the Pell City schools, one of the things that I would like to see done is the intertwining with the community and the school, right? Specifically the business community, right? I heard a question earlier that you asked um, about the um, the the college versus the vocational um, teaching, and I think that one of the ways to bring a positive um, relationship is to get the entire community involved, right? Pell City school systems, starting with Pell City Panthers, this should be the college of this town, right? This high school and this school system should be thought of the way Alabama and Auburn start off, right? It should be a community affair. And I think one of the ways you do that is get the business community involved, right? Make this unified, make it to where students can be able to get those vocational skills, to be able to uh, get community businesses to invest in the school, right? To make businesses understand that you're by investing in these school systems, you're investing in your own future, right? That is a positive way to move this system forward, right? It is a collaborative community way to move things forward. You're not going to move forward thinking monolithically. It has to be a community, a community collaborative process. And I think it's already there, right? I think it's already there. I drive through, I've been on some of these back roads trying to just figure out my way. And I once again, I came from Nashville, Tennessee, and I have seen Pell City Panthers signs in people's yard. And so I think the positive change has already begun. I've only been here 2 years. I don't know what the benchmark started, but I think it's already there. And I think the emergence of this school board is just going to be a continuance of moving forward.
Dr. London, at this time, give us your closing statement.
Sure. First of all, I want to take the time to thank each and every one of you, right? And I want to thank each and every one in the audience. It is an honor and a privilege to sit here. I've been involved in education now probably, I hate to tell my age, but probably nearly over 20 years, right? Education is not in actual science, right? Because it involves human beings and systems and technology and culture, and it's constantly changing and evolving, right? Hopefully, I will be um, one of the stalwarts that are able to help bring this system forward, right? To be able to be one of the long distance runners, to help bring this system better, to be able to work with the superintendent, to work with other board members, to just be able to bring about the best outcomes possible, right? I don't approach anything with the idea that I have all the answers. I think the first thing in building any system is the ability to listen. It's the ability to look at the data. The data tells everything, right? And I also think there needs to be boots on the ground. I think school board members need to be able to open themselves up to the public, because you cannot have trust until you have relationship. Those things work in tandem. Trust is tantamount to relationship. And um, I don't think that any parent that has a child in the school system um, would be happy if they don't have trust in their school board and have relationship, right? And so I think that is the most important ingredients to being able to make a good school board member and being able to move the school system forward.
Thank you so much for your time and dedication to the Quincy schools. This concludes your interview.
Thank you so much.